Hey folks, it's Catherine. I haven't been online in a while. I'm sorry. I went to Iowa, sadly, for my aunt's celebration of life, but I'm home, and I have to admit I've been struggling to get into the routine of cooking again, and playing uh, the cook. So tonight I am going to be cooking some Persian food. I am going to be making, and excuse my Farsi, Lubia Cheshm Bolboli. I don't know, Lubia Cheshm Bolboli. So I'm sorry, my Persian friends. I know I have a very strong American accent and I mispronounce the names, but I will type in the description. Basically, we're making dill rice with black eyed peas and chicken. So I'm going to slow cook a whole chicken, and then I'm going to make some rice with dill and black eyed peas. And I will show you as I go along. But like I said, I really apologize for being a little MIA. And actually, I think my next recipe is going to be peach cobbler, because who doesn't love a good peach cobbler? And Fourth of July is coming. And by the way, my birthday's on Saturday, just so you know. I'm going to be not going to tell you. Anyway, I hope everybody's having a great night, and we'll chat soon. Cheers. All right, so the first part of my recipe is going to be sauteing some onion. And then this cube you see here is frozen chicken broth. I think, like most cooks, whenever you have chicken broth, you freeze it, I assume. So this is going to be chicken broth with onions. And then there's my whole chicken that I'm going to cook. And we're going to start there. All right, we've got all of the chicken broth melted. The onions are ready. They're sauteing. I've put a little bit of turmeric, salt, and pepper on top of the chicken. We are going to cook this on low for about an hour and 15 minutes on the stove top. And then we'll break it apart and add it to the rice later. But for now, we're just going to cook this chicken. So in my kitchen, I keep some ground up saffron that I use for all of my dishes. And I'm currently out. You can see the jar to my left is empty. And I know you can't really read this, but Shayar's father wrote that. And I keep it in this particular jar because it makes me feel close to Papa Essie, who we miss. He passed away in 2007. And then this package of saffron is from some of my relatives who are so kind. They bring me saffron every time they come back from Iran. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that, we're going to open that package, and then we're going to grind it in that Morton pedestal. I forgot how you say that, but anyway, I'm going to grind it. And I usually put a little sugar in there to get it into a nice powder, and then I keep it in that little jar to the left. So I'll show you when I'm done, but just want to say how much I love my Iranian family, and thank you all of my relatives who bring me my saffron. Thank you, Mama Shimi, for always cooking for us, and thank you, Papa Essie, for always being so kind. Cheers. So as you can see, not easy to get it in there when it's coming from that round circle. So what I do is I put foil underneath it so I can get as much as I can in. Then I can take the foil and fold it and get the rest of it in there, because saffron, as you know, is very, very expensive and you do not want to waste any of it. Then before I start grinding it, I always put sugar in it, because the sugar, the crystals of the sugar, will help the saffron to get into a really nice powder form. So we're going to grind it. And then the advantage of keeping that foil down there still is if I spill while I'm grinding it, I can still gather up anything I spill and put it back in there. Like I said, you never waste anything. All right, there's my jar. It's willing to live another day with my saffron for cooking. Thank you, Papa Essie, for my jar. Cheers. The chicken cooked for about an hour and a half, actually. I went ahead and deboned it, and I kept a lot of the chicken broth and just letting it soak in there for flavor, and I keep that for later to add some to the rice. Then I went ahead and soaked the rice. There's about 6 cups of rice in a little bit of salted water. I prepared the black-eyed peas with some dried dill, and I will add some additional dried dill in when I do the layers for the rice. I did go ahead and prepare the saffron water as well. It's basically just some hot water, and I add the saffron and I let it sit for 15-20 minutes at least. The longer you let it sit, the more color there is and the flavor. This is just so nice with the rice. We'll put this over the rice when we get ready to put the layers in. It will be delicious. Just in case you were curious how much oil, just enough to coat the bottom. And there you go, there's the tzadik, the tortilla at the very bottom after the oil. Now we're going to layer the rice and all the food, and I'll show you before we put the lid on. After the tortilla, I put in a layer of rice, chicken, black-eyed peas, and added more dried dill. I put in about 3 or 4 layers of that until all of the chicken was gone. Then I added a layer of the plain rice and some saffron and some of the chicken broth. I didn't show the process of me cooking that rice that you saw that I had soaking. I did cook it until it was still a little crunchy in the middle because you are going to steam this for 50 minutes. So that's when the rice will finish cooking. So you never want to, you don't want to cook it all the way until you get to this portion when you put the cloth over it and you steam it for 50 minutes. The meal ended up coming out really nicely. We got a nice tzadik. I got 2 different dishes of the rice. And then at midnight, as you can see, midnight on the clock, I actually finished this meal. So it was late last night, but I hope you guys enjoy the channel. Please make sure you subscribe, share it with your friends, and please provide any feedback or comments if you'd like. I would appreciate it. Take care. Have a great weekend.